Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden and we're going to return to a brewery who I've only ever reviewed one beer from before, and that was a collaboration beer. So this is going to be my first dedicated review to this brewery, and these guys have built a considerable reputation for themselves in the sour beer category. So hopefully this is quite an interesting review. For this one then we are going to go back to Gothenburg, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast. Don't know, as I say, I don't know how many times I'm going to say that this month. There's so much good beer in Gothenburg these days. But we're going to do my second visit to Morgondagens. So this one is called the Gottegris here in Sweden, and I believe in some other places it's called the Fredagsmys as well. But both of these, the names of these beers, it is actually the same beer. So this one is a 4.5% Berliner Weisse, and it has raspberries, blueberries, strawberries and blackcurrants in it. So it should be really nice. If you've watched my channel before, you will know that I'm a huge fan of the berry sour beers, so hopefully this one also turns out to be really quite nice actually. So yeah, definitely interesting to do my first dedicated review to Morgondagens. So hopefully you guys enjoy my take on this beer, and it's nice to have another Berliner Weisse as well. I've not had one of these in a wee while, it feels like. So yeah, another plus point about this review. So let's see how we get on then. As always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Morgondagens before, and hopefully I can add more to that list in the fairly near future. I do need to keep an eye on this brewery. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Morgondagens then, on to my brewery notes. So Morgondagens was founded by Jonas Gustafsson and Jenny Nilsson, and the pair lived in Ingeroy just outside of Stockholm, and they brewed together at home before moving over to the west coast of Sweden back in 2017. They were then based in Hamburgsund, and it was there that they had the Morgondagens a.k.a. Ölcafé, which was where they were brewing their beers, and this also acted as a tap room of sorts. And this building had been a pizzeria before, and they set up a small brewery of 200 litres, and they became known for adding lots of different ingredients to their beers, and this is something that they seem to have stuck with over the last little while. But they opened up the beer cafe during the summer months, which was also known for pizzas and sandwiches, and it proved to be really very popular. And then they got their beers into Systembolaget and Vinmonopolet up in Norway. So as I say, I think the other name for this one, the Fredagsmys, I think that's the name that they use in Norway with this beer. But they sold this premises in 2018, and they began brewing their beer at Berlinner Bryggeri in Jonsered, just to the kind of east of Gothenburg, for a period of time. And they now have their own brewery in Hisingen, where they have a 2,000 litre brew kit, and initially they had a 30,000 litre fermentation capacity as well. And I think they maybe have expanded that since then. But they'll start opening up this brewery in early 2020, so I think that's well underway, and they hope to have a brewery bar on site at some point fairly soon as well. So we'll need to keep our eye on this brewery and see if that's the case. If I go up to Gothenburg again sometime soon, hopefully I can get in there and film a little bit at the brewery. That would be very nice. They also have a collaborative brewery with Microphone Bryggeri. It's Duck Pond Beers, these guys, and which is called Wizard Brewing. So check out some of the Wizard Brewing beers as well. And as of April 2020, they've produced around 115 different types of beers. And at this brewery that they have, I think, you know, that's a collaboration. The Duck Pond beers are being brewed there, the Wizard Brewing beers are being brewed there, and also the Morgondagens beers are also being brewed there as well. So if you want sour beers, these three breweries are the ones that you want to check out in Gothenburg. There are a few others out there that are doing some very interesting stuff, but you know, Morgondagens, Duck Pond and Wizard are doing some very nice stuff. I think Duck Pond seem to kind of split their time between the New England IPAs, the hazy sort of stuff, and the Berliner Weisse, but Morgondagens are pretty much all sour beers from what I gather, and all of the Wizard Brewing beers, I think pretty much all of them are actually Berliner Weisses as well. But yeah, as of April 2020, like I said, 115 different types of beer have been released under the Morgondagens name, which is pretty damn impressive when you consider that this brewery is very, very new. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Morgondagens for the moment. If you want to learn more about this brewery, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer and Untappd pages as well as Beer Advocate to see all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, this one should be very, very interesting, and it's definitely cool, like I say, to do my first dedicated review to this brewery, because they have built a very, very good reputation for themselves. So yeah, this one should be really interesting. So like I told you at the start of the video, this one is called the Gottegris, which basically means, like, I think it means like either good, I think this is God's pig or something like that, but basically something to do with a pig, because in Sweden and Denmark and things they love pork. Very, very nice food. And as I say, in Norway, this beer is known as Fredagsmys, which is the Friday mist. But it's a 4.5% Berlinner Weisse, and it has raspberries, blueberries, strawberries and blackcurrants added to it before. This beer was released here in Sweden on the 1st of April 2020 through the local and Småskaligt assortment. And yeah, like I say, my first dedicated review to these guys, so hopefully it turns out very nicely. If you've watched the channel before, you will know that when it comes to sour beers, I love my berry sours actually. There's some other things out there that really interest me, but berry sours I really do like very, very much. There's some very good sour beer producers these days in Sweden. As we said, Wizard Brewing, we've got these guys, Morgondagens, you've got Temple Bryghus, we're always doing some interesting stuff, and we've got Jämmerdalen away up in the north, you've got Bryggeriet, and Dugas of course do some interesting sour beers as well. I'm trying to think who I'm missing. You know, there's more and more breweries popping up doing a lot of these sour things as well. So lots of good sour breweries here in Sweden these days. But this one is the Gottegris, Fredagsmys, whatever you want to call it, from Morgondagens. So let's get this guy out and we will get on with tasting them. I wonder what the reason for the difference in name is in Norway actually. I wonder why they've decided to change the name. I wonder if it's the Norwegian side that there's rules, or whether it's the Swedish side where there's rules about the name of the beers, the Friday Mist or something like that. Sweden, I think, has stricter rules when it comes to naming the beers. But yeah, as I say, Fredagsmys and Gottegris are the exact same beer. So yeah, as you can see with this one, and as you would expect from a berry Berliner Weisse, this one's poured an almost kind of Ribena colour. It's almost like a cherry lambic creek type colour actually. And I'll tell you straight away, you can smell the lovely fruity characters off this one as you open it up. So this one, I think it's fair to say, this is definitely a sort of maroon kind of burgundy type colour, almost like the Heart of Midlothian football shirt. It's pretty much like that. But yeah, for those of you watching from other places, I don't know how many of you that aren't Scottish will get that, but yeah, Heart of Midlothian in Edinburgh, Hearts as we call them, they have a football shirt that is basically the same colour as this beer. That's their home colours. But yeah, as you could see when we poured this one, there was a finger of a frothy pink head. There was one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and there's a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it does look pretty damn nice, I have to say. There's nothing really surprising about this beer when you consider what style it is. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there, and there's a few wee bits of sediment just floating around in this one. But as I say, 4.5% Berliner Weisse this one. I do like a good berry Berliner Weisse. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. As you can see, and as you would expect from a Berliner Weisse, especially one that's got fruit added to it, this thing is pretty much hazy as hell. There's not any transparency to this beer at all. But let's look at the aroma and see how we get on. There's lovely juicy fruitiness just coming out of this one straight away. So yeah, when you go into this beer, it really smells very creamy and almost vanilla-y. There's a lot of kind of these candied type fruits to it. So you've got a lovely wheaty smoothness to this one underneath. There's definitely a bit of vanilla in there as well. Lots of that kind of white bready sort of thing. It's got a lot, the base of this beer is really very, very lovely. We used to have these sweets back home in Scotland called Campinos, and the base of the beer smells a hell of a lot like that, these kind of creamy sweets actually. So yeah, I really like how that goes together. But yeah, you've got pretty much what you would expect from the base here. I think there's a bit of an oaty creaminess to this one as well, in fairness. But yeah, you've got that lovely smooth white bready wheaty note. It's it does almost smell as if it's got a little bit of oatiness to it, but some lovely vanilla kind of qualities there as well. But on top of that, it's all the fruits. There is a wee bit of hoppiness in there, a little bit of a lighter kind of grassiness, some floral notes too, but the fruitiness that you get out of this beer really is top class actually. It's a very sweet, juicy, fruity note for me. So yeah, you get a wee bit of tartness from the raspberries. I think the strawberries kind of dominate in this one though. The strawberries, the juiciness of the strawberries really form the kind of linchpin of the fruity side of things. Then you get a little bit of tartness from the raspberry at the front of the nose, and I think it's the blueberries and the blackcurrants that give the beer a lot of the kind of more subtle sides of it. So I think the strawberries kind of dominate in the aroma here in terms of giving it the juiciness, and then the blackcurrants and blueberries just sit on top of that. I'm just wondering, did I get this right? Yeah, blueberries and blackcurrants, yeah. So I think the blueberries and I always get mixed up with blackberries, but the blueberries and blackcurrants in this one, they're really kind of sitting on top of the strawberry. So for me, it's the strawberry that gives you a lot of the base. It's just the light, that almost lighter aroma that you get from strawberry that's given this beer a lot of the aroma. But you can get a wee bit of the tartness from the strawberries, kind of at the raspberries, sorry, at the front of the nose. I don't find the other fruits in this tart. I think they come across as more juicy in my opinion. But like I say, the aroma to this one is quite candied, and you might notice just a little bit of a kind of figgy quality in there as well, that kind of figgy note. But I will say the aroma of this beer really is lovely. And this is one of the things I love about these fruited beers, like the lambics and the Berliner Weisses and things like that. You can really get some beautiful, beautiful aromas out of them. And for me, as I've told you before, sour beers are not the most complex of things. It's all about just how the flavours blend together and the sort of transition they make from being sharper and tart in the beginning to being more kind of smooth as you go into them. It's all about the kind of transition that these beers make and the flavours that they make as you go across it. For me, I really like how all of these go together, but the aroma of this beer really is very, very nice. So take a bit of time and enjoy that before you try this beer. So this one is the Gottegris here in Sweden, and I believe the Fredagsmys up in Norway. 4.5% Berlinner Weisse from Morgondagens in Hisingen in Gothenburg. Comes in at 4.5%, brewed with blackcurrants, blueberries, raspberries and strawberries. Should be a really nice beer, this one. It came out on the 1st of April 2020 through the local and småskalig assortment here in Sweden. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. That's really nice. I mean, first impression is this one's a little bit more, it's a little bit less kind of wheaty and smooth and things than I thought it was going to be. This strikes me as one of the more kind of crisp and wet Berliner Weisses that I've come across in recent times actually. But yeah, this is nice. I mean, I certainly like how this beer goes together. It gets a thumbs up from me. It's one of the more tart Berliner Weisses that I've had in recent times, and the wheat, I think, is the sort of wheaty side of it's actually a little bit more kind of subtle, to be honest. I mean, that's one of the things. This beer is quite different compared to what I expected when I think about the aroma. This one really is very kind of crisp almost when I think about it. So yeah, I like how this goes together actually. This is definitely a little bit more tart than some of the other ones I've had. It's almost just got a little bit of a kind of puckering quality to it as well, which is great. So yeah, this is really, really nice. Yeah, so let's try and break the flavour of this one down then. When you take this beer in, you get a hell of a lot of tartness from the raspberries actually, and the strawberries and everything. This one, the tartness to me is actually almost quite citric, to be honest with you. Yeah, when you take this in, it's almost very citric in the beginning, but then it just juices up, and just behind the very tip of the tongue, the kind of the sour character is really, really very, very wet, as I say, just a little bit puckering. You can feel a little bit of the kind of wheaty aroma, the wheaty flavour just blanketing the middle of the tongue, and the kind of pale malty notes as well. I really like how that goes together. If you go to the front corners of the palate and then move in a little bit, there is a wee bit of woodiness to this beer, which I find quite interesting. As I say, that the malt base just is not so prominent in this one compared to the malt base is just not as prominent as I've come across in some of the other beers, which is really interesting. So yeah, I like how this goes together. Yeah, really it's almost a very kind of crisp and wet Berliner Weisse, as I said. That's nice. It gets a thumbs up from me, this one. It just isn't quite what I expected. I like my Berliner Weisses to be a little bit more kind of wheaty and things like that, but if you want them a little bit more tart, this is really going to kind of suit you down to the ground. I do like big tart lambic beers and things like that, but this one's really more... I honestly think that if I was tasting this blind, I might not guess that it's a Berliner Weisse. I might think it's just a straight up kind of berry sour or something like that, because the wheat really is not that prominent. But yeah, let's try and break the flavour down a little bit more. As I say, you get a little bit of that, you know, we talked about the malt base there, the wheat is there, you do get a little bit of it. It's a bit stronger towards the back of the palate, but really there's not too much in the way of wheatiness with this beer. On the hoppy side of things, you've got a little bit of earthiness there. I think with these beers they tend to use older hops, if they use any at all. Quite a number of breweries just don't put hops in these beers, but there's a little teeny bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the palate, you get a little bit of floral quality, and round the kind of grassy side of the beer you also get some, around the front part of the palate it does become a little bit more grassy, I should say, and then behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get the nice oily part of the palate. You've also got those really sort of sharp, you've also got those really kind of sharp things as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, as I say, when you take this one in, it's the raspberries that give you a lot of the tartness. Then it juices up a little bit. The tartness really gets very, very wet, and you start to get the strawberry flavour. And then the further you go into the aftertaste, you can feel the black currants and the blueberries kind of coming out too. The blueberries, in fairness, I think, have a little bit of tartness to them, and it's almost got this kind of candied strawberry flavour there behind the front curve of the tongue too, and that progresses the further you go into the aftertaste as well. So yeah, this brewery really has a nice kind of just candied sort of juicy fruit flavour to it as well, which is very, very nice. I really like the way the fruits come together in this one. So it's strawberry that's the base, the raspberry gives you the tartness when you take it in, and you can feel the juiciness of the blueberries and the blackberries building later on, but the blueberry does start to give you a wee bit of that kind of tartness from the beer as well. As I say, in the middle of the palate you've got a nice bit of you do have a nice little bit of that wheaty note, but really the whole beer feels very, very wet, and the wheaty kind of side of it isn't too prominent, to be honest with you. So like I said, if I was drinking this beer, I would probably think it's a straight up berry sour rather than being a Berliner Weisse, to be honest with you. You do get more, the wheat does start to push its way out a little bit more the further you go into the aftertaste, but I think generally speaking I would say that this beer is quite it really is more it really is more sort of wheaty, and it's really more wet and like a straight up fruit sour rather than being a kind of Berliner Weisse in my opinion. But yeah, the wheat is quite subtle in this. In terms of the mouthfeel, I would say that this beer is yeah, this one's quite light bodied. There's not a lot of carbonation to this. It's very sharp and tart in the beginning, and then it really wettens out this one, so this is quite a wet feeling Berliner Weisse for me. The malt base, like I say, is really not very prominent in this. You do get a little bit of the smoothness in the very centre of your palate, but there's not a lot of it. There's a little touch of hoppiness to this beer. I think you'd be lucky though to get about 10 or even 15 IBUs out of this one, and then the fruitiness, like I say, it comes in very, very sharp in the beginning with the tartness, then it juices up a little bit the further you go into the aftertaste, and it starts on the very tip of the tongue it's got a little bit more sharpness to it, and it's also quite juicy at the same time. But yeah, I like how this one goes together. As I've told you before, I'm a bit of a sucker for a berry sour, and this one really strikes me as more of a berry sour than a Berliner Weisse. In fairness, you do, in the aftertaste, you really do pick up some of the nice wheaty notes out of the beer, but it's just not quite as prominent as you might think, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I'd be curious to try a few of the other sour beers from these guys. The last beer that I had from Morgondagens was with Popels and with Friends Company. It was the Glug Sour, which was really quite nice, and that was as I say, that was the very first beer I reviewed from these guys, and that was great. So I need to try a few of the other ones and see how they get on, but this is definitely a more wet and kind of sour Berliner Weisse compared to some of the other ones that I've had, but I like it. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, but I'm a sucker for these kind of berry sour type beers. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was a 4.5% Berliner Weisse from, or it says Candy Weisse on the side here. But yeah, it's a nice, quite crisp. This would be a very nice sort of summery beer. This one, I have to say, or sort of spring beer. It's probably a good way to describe it, but I enjoyed reviewing this one for you. It certainly made me think a little bit, and I hope that you guys enjoyed my take on it as well. I look forward to trying more of the Morgondagens beers over the next little while. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Morgondagens as well. This one was the Gottegris, as it's known in Sweden, the Fredagsmys, as it's known in Norway, the Friday Mist, and God's Pig, or the Good Pig, or something like that, as it must mean in Swedish. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out Morgondagens from Gothenburg in the Hisingen area, and hopefully we can get up there and visit their brewery bar whenever it opens. But yeah, this one was a really nice beer, and check this one out while you get the chance. If you like a berry sour, and quite a sharp berry sour at that, you will enjoy this one. Slanja, skål, cheers, catch you very soon, and you will see more Morgondagens reviews quite soon. Cheers.